And now, an excerpt from the official Black Panther soundtrack.
La-di-da-di-da, slime on me now. Pass me some syrup, put me in the car. La-di-da-di-da, motherfucker law. GD bang, murder everything.
Bitch, I'm on the roll and I put that on the game.
Yeah, miss me with that bullshit.
Black Panther has been teased since 2015 with the mention of Wakanda in Avengers Age of Ultron. And now we finally got it. How is it? Fucking amazing. It's so refreshing to have a superhero movie like this because yes, it is still a Marvel movie, so there are still many classic Marvel tropes, but the difference between Black Panther and other MCU films is that Black Panther has substance. Black Panther is a badass superhero film with tons of action, car chases, and backflips, but it's still able to say a lot. A theme we see throughout the movie is this idea of culture versus innovation. Wakanda has been successfully thriving for centuries because of its strict culture and identity. Whether or not their means was morally correct is left up to the Wakandans and us as the viewer. But as the world changes, the biggest threat to culture is that change. Can culture still thrive without changing with the world? Or are we forced to face an ultimatum between the two? This is an idea the movie constantly plays with, and without spoiling anything, our main hero and villain are the physical embodiments of that. Culture versus innovation. And this is only scratching the surface when it comes to looking at this film on a thematic level. There's also other themes of isolationism, family, identity, and even fucking colonialism. Can you believe a mega studio like Disney is mass marketing a film that talks about colonialism in an honest way? This movie is making history. Never has a film with this much melanin been marketed to a worldwide audience, and so far it's been breaking every single record it could possibly break, along with stereotypes of what can be sold in movies and Hollywood. It's a victory for all people of color, and it's a milestone that deserves to be recognized. But Black Panther doesn't sacrifice anything to carry an important message. The film is badass. It has all the epic moments you expect in a comic book film, and even adds a grittiness we haven't seen before in the Marvel franchise. And from a lore standpoint, the events that happen in Black Panther are gonna affect the rest of the MCU forever. But the movie never tries to forcefully fit in the big universe of Marvel. The movie is much more isolated in that regard, and I loved it. These films should be good films instead of just being placeholders until the team-up films. I think the reason why Black Panther had me more engaged than a lot of other Marvel films was because the conflicts in the movie are based on real-world conflicts, but blown to the Marvel scale. All comic book movies are fun, but most of the time the villains or heroes are so absurd that we can draw this distinction that, okay, this is like a live-action cartoon. But Black Panther presents all its characters as humans first, with very clear motives and history. A large portion of the film includes dialogue between the characters that just allow them to be fleshed out. The film lets us spend time with these characters and get to know them so that when the action comes, we are fully invested in these characters and start to worry for their lives. Even though, I mean, come on, Black Panther, of course he's not gonna die. And that's the exact opposite of what Justice League gave us. We should have got something more like this in Justice League. Moments where the characters are just allowed to breathe. Give us time with the characters. Let us find some common ground with these fictional people so we give a shit. I was surprised to what extent the villain was fleshed out in this movie. Killmonger is not an ordinary supervillain. He's human. He's been through some shit, and on certain things he has a point. In a way, we are able to identify with Killmonger's motives, and it makes us conflicted because bad guys are easy to kill when they're just bad. But what if they're human like us? The movie doesn't treat the audience like children. It presents these issues and themes that aren't black and white. Like the real world, most of the time there isn't a clear option. Instead, people deal with things to the best of their ability, and sometimes that means handling the consequences of others. That's why I love this film so damn much. Literally every scene that Michael B. Jordan is in is my favorite scene. He is so amazing, and his scenes are just badass with how they handle cinematography and the music. He has some really epic sequences, especially when this starts playing. Oh shit, you already know some shit's about to go on. He's a badass. He's the perfect foil to the Black Panther. In my personal opinion, Killmonger is the best MCU villain ever. And I mean, come on, look up. But Chadwick Boseman is also amazing as Black Panther too. He brings this royalness to the character. He carries himself like a king, and when he needs to, he becomes this badass superhero. We've seen a lot of alter egos, but never like this. Chadwick is the perfect cast. I am completely blown away with this movie. Marvel, you did it again, just when I thought you were out of ideas. They could have totally made a shitty movie right before Infinity War, and it would most likely still sell because of the hype, but instead they chose to make one of the best MCU films in a very long time. For me, it's up there with The Winter Soldier and Guardians. 1. I'm giving Black Panther a 9 out of 10.